Thunderbirds are go. Hello, I am Trade Spotting. I hail from Scotland, where some of the world's greatest economic thinkers have come from. People such as David Hume, Adam Smith, Adam Ferguson, Alexander Bain, Duns Scotus. Lots and lots of great thinkers. What about you? Where are you from? Are there any famous philosophers there? Are there any philosophies that you like from the place you're from? Where is that place? Where are you from? As I say, I'm from Scotland. Where's big changes happening? Big changes. Depending on how you like your changes, constitutional or otherwise, big changes happening. This is the chart, GameStop, where there hasn't been big changes, as Rocky would say. Price action has been so nasty, make your short and curlies go more ginger than my granny's fanny. That's what it's been like on GME. Failing to break above point of control, $26 it needs to hold. If it doesn't manage to do that, you're looking at this gap below, testing that at 23.30. Closing it, pardon me, testing this downward sloping trend. Should you bounce there, very, very positive, it would take you to beyond the levels open interest would incentivize short positions to close the trade. So we'll see how that works towards the end of the week, right? See if you go there later on during the week. Could be worse than going there early. Counterintuitive, but true. And pushing to the top side, we can see that the 200 period moving average on this 4-hour time frame comes in at around $30, right? So that's still resistance. It's also true, as he's saying, that's resistance on the open interest. There is no Elliott wave theory or any other technical strategy that will help you predict price any better than the support and resistance zones I just pointed out. Those, how price action responds at those zones. That'll dictate what happens going forward. Going forward. We love that expression here, right? Going forward. Right? What direction you going, yo? So that's what we're talking about. GameStop, support and resistance, and these sort of things. I mentioned those other potential strategies because people have asked me recently, like, what does this mean that we did X, Y, and Z within the structure of this formation? And I say the same, like I start this video with. There's a gap below, which takes you below that level 24 that people are pointing to. And overall, we've been in a downward sloping trend. We look for continuation as traders, and those support and resistance zones are the most important to pay attention to. When price meets them, watching the chart at that period in time will teach you more about how to trade over the subsequent period of time and where price action goes to should it break either of them. Watching that and the response teach you more about how to trade the next period of time than much of looking back on what's happened within this formation. Okay? But that does help predict where we might go if we do break those levels. And if we break back above, you can see that we've already tested up around 34. If you break that, I would posit that 38 would be your next target. And if you break that, you know, that's actually a zone up to around $40. And personally, I'd be looking at it hitting 40, right? If it breaks 34, I think it'd hit 40. You know, another 15 to 20% on top. So that's what I'd be expecting to happen. RSI at that stage would be back up into the bullish control zone. You'd be well and truly away from the center line, that's for sure. And at the minute, that's not happening. Histogram on the MACD suggests that, you know, things aren't as positive as price action might make them look. Could easily be continuation here, falling down. That's what that would be, falling down. Rolling over, falling down. And MACD could then come back down, give you a potential positive cross on the right side of the center line. That would be below zero. Amber's price action would then to move up, but they're below the 200 period moving average, which removes the qualifier for that particular strategy. And this is 4-hour time frame, so really you're just looking at this momentum in terms of how's it, you know, dictating the strength or the magnitude of common moves. Anywho, you know, don't want to do too much and freak people out, you know. So we'll just keep it simple. 4-hour time frame, GameStop, 24, hold that, all right. 26, better. Actually, the number. $30 topside, great break that. 34, great break that. 40. But trade spotting, it would like price action to go all those areas. If that doesn't happen, that's probably okay. You know, I've covered a certain proportion of my position from $34 with an option contract, and if it comes back down I expect it to come to close this gap at 23.30 and anticipate it potentially reaching back down to $19 and change, right? 19.80 or those levels. Still, yeah, I still expect that, right? And like I would be completely and utterly open to the possibility of it going lower as well, right? That's just something to be aware of, right? That's what I'd be. And why would it take those? Well, be from a SPY. So anyway, that's what I'd be going. I'd be going on SPY and whatnot. And SPY T is incredible around here. Have you seen recently see it yesterday? Over 400 people did. Did you? Were you one of them? So we could look at that. We can also look at Root, which came in from Kitty's Never Die. Fakes request. Fakes request. So far, so good on our particular, this particular version of this chart. Root, where we had a wow signal drawn out. Copyright trade spotter. And also see here with these three lows, still going through with what we expected at this stage. Haven't broken this prior support area. Had a gap to fill. I've done that. Pretty good, you know, 4 hour time frame. You needed to close that, and we've also left to complete that task with another similar artifact back to the top side, which also leaves with a golden pocket retracement back towards $8.02, filling this gap and pushing back to the top side. And Kitty Never Dies Facts. Yo, Ace. Kitty's Facts said, hi Jamie, can you do Root again? Looks like we might be going up for 810 gap, or how far can we get? Thanks. No problems, you're welcome. So what we'll be looking at here will be a number of different areas. This is the 886 breakdown. We haven't, you know, if we were to get here, we'll be filling this gap back up $11 towards 12. Aiming that way, need to be going past 9.90 to $10, this sort of level, and a golden pocket retracement. A lot of highs within this formation, and I'd anticipate it being slightly, there being some hesitation around that level, around 990, pushing back up. And if you're to go, right, you know, and this is what I'm talking about here, is making a retracement 886, test this prior high before the complete breakdown. The place you'd be at least looking to get to in that stage would be an 886. Getting there would then be a winding path, I suspect, because of the likely resistance around 990. So yeah, this is what you'd be looking for a positive scenario, and then you'd be able to come in and say that this was potentially forming a round and bottom, which would overall be an aggregate of what you'd look here for the potential inverted head and shoulders, or at least a triple bottom, or you've got your bullish divergence on this low when you broke out of this downward sloping parallel channel and you came back to retest that point with, again, you know, within the formation, a little bit of bullishness on this trend, despite the fact that it's putting in, you know, that's not a higher high, it's still a lower high, and this then is debatable because it's moved off with a degree of velocity and enthusiasm, which is very, that's very positive. The fact that price action came back there is natural because there's a gap. But then how does this respond, right? You know, and an inflection point that's been tested and proved to be strong, that's very, very positive, because, you know, it suggests that maybe this market participant that caused this inflection here has created a slightly different environment. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make there is about a rounded bottom and what you might expect to do with price elasticity from here. It would be expression of this part of the range. That's similar to reaching that 886. If you take it from here, you could even take it from that previous high. It should probably be something similar, and you're looking at it making its move this direction. So it breaks out from around this 886 around 850, having closed this gap and tested a prior high that it got to previously, which you would anticipate if it puts in a higher low, right? It then, having previously put in a higher low here and tested that area, you'd expect to then come up and try and test for a higher high. So you'd be looking about breaking the golden pocket, filling that gap at 805. You know, you say 810, maybe it is at 810, but it looks there slightly lower. And then 886, you break that. I wouldn't be paying too much attention to this area because you've got this higher low here, and it'd be about testing the overall formation. I'd be looking for it to make a golden pocket retracement. Then the 990 target. Break that 886 is what you're aiming for, and that's back up at 1155. You need to do all that before you start turning around and putting in really bullish moves. Daily time frame. Downward sloping resistance at this stage. I think we had this guy on previously. You'd have to go through this to be doing anything more, right? It could go back above 1150 and those targets, and aiming then for the 200 period moving average around 21 bucks. And before you get, you know, above those levels, it's very difficult to speak about Root of being bullish on any significant time frame, despite the fact that you've got lots of gaps to aim for. which would typically that would be an inflection point again there around those levels, 21 to 24. And yeah, sure, it could go there very quickly. Bear in mind that would be 300% increase in price, and that doesn't typically happen. But I mean, all in one go. But you've got the targets above in the meantime. Diagonals, daily time frame, not all that relevant, but then it's also true on the weekly. So you just get an early sign on the daily. Opening, closing above there would be better than just going up and coming straight back down again, right? On the weekly, that would end up looking like a wick and a rejection. You don't really want rejections because they suggest continuation, So we want to get positive support in that to manifest into like positive moves, which would be breaking significant horizontal levels. Having a gap above is similar to having the gap below. You can go there, and that might be the reasoning you needed in order to be there. It doesn't necessarily define what's coming next, as it hasn't done so far here, which you've also got quite a strong reaction there back above the 236 from that prior high. So far it's 382 holding you. So on the tiny time frame, say on the 15 minutes, you're looking for it to get back above the 200 and the 50 simple to approach that 200. Price action then would need to start being up above 770 and spending time there consistently before it then breaks through this gap. Then you'd hope the 50 simple went through the 200, price action continued to the top side and test those levels up around 850, break that, you'll go to 990. That's what you're looking for. 15-minute time frame, you can see that this 382, 746. You break above that, you're back above the 200. And the question is, like, do you hold at 850? Do you close this gap? Or do and do you come back, or do you go back on straight to 990? I would suggest that you probably stop at the bottom, 770, gain 880, 885, then again 850. And then likely, because right doesn't tend to move beyond those support and resistance levels all in one go. Well, I mean, the resistance does the support after a while, but then free tests before the break. Yo, $10 just facts got skipped. Jake facts got skipped. Yeah, Jake's facts. Where is Jake? Is he there? Where are you, Jake? Didn't see it there. Is it here? Where was the message that came in earlier that said TradeSpot, and this was what the ticker was? Here. There it is. Kept this to see it. Supposed to be AUY, and TF was for time frame. Okay. AUY today. Your mana ha gold. Ha. What? That's what she said. Right, 15-minute time frame. Oh, I can see what's interesting about this thing. There's a gap there. It's going to be testing the top side of that, filling that flash. That's also a tested 200 period moving average 15-minute time frame, and it's bearishly divergent at the minute. 510, was that the entry you said? Where was that message? 4 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour. And you were saying puts 520, stop at 533. Oh, jeepers creepers. There's it at 534. Would that stop have been a conditional order based on the price of the underlying? First 523 high plus the ATR. Right, so how could the stop have been 520, 533 then? It's the 523 plus the ATR. Oh, right, the ATR on 4 hour time frame. What does the average true range tell me on that 4 hour? Where are you? 12. I would use, I would still be using the average true range from the daily time frame, Jake. I'd be taking the average true range on the daily time frame and using that for intraday trades, as opposed to taking a typical average move on the 4 hour and using that for a trade on the 4 hour time frame. In fact, what I typically would do would look for the best chocolate on my biscuit with the closest possible entry to that stop, and have that stop then double the ATR from that resistance level, like support level. I don't want price action to break. So when I know I'm definitely wrong, right at that point could be where I put my entry, and then my stop can be particularly close, either on that level, which is tough when you're trading option contracts, unless you're using, or it would be, damn, my visual cues not being here for every conversation. Or my stop would be, double the ATR on the daily time frame, putting that beyond the support level. And yeah, so what would that mean effectively then? Well, on the daily time frame, the ATR value, where is it? We got up there earlier. What was that? 21. So then I'd be looking at 42. 42, if my it's like a significant chunk of price action, then 42 cents is something that trades at 534. So they're my, and you can see that there's lots of different reasons why you'd be looking at this as for short entries anyway across different time frames. This is a W, it's at the low of the formation. I'd be looking at the extensions on this thing in the first instance from 1618, this high to this low. I'd be saying it's very dodgy looking at this thing, planning on entering it. Here's the 1.13 where you've got to it already, and this would be in the first place I would think about entering. So hopefully this advice isn't too little too late. I'd also have this guy on, just paying attention to him, see the 4.43, and that'll be an area of price action likely does come back to then an inflection point previously as Rocky Outcrops there defining this. Golden pocket retracement also matching up with this 1.13 is very interesting. Then I'd be worried about that area, and the average range being 42 cents added on to 536 takes it to 570. That would gives me a potential entry here and a stop around, if it goes beyond 549, 550, then it probably is going up towards these prior levels and my stop, which is fine getting taken out of that trade, because I'm not like looking to take it multiple times and conceptualizing it as an entry from here when I'm actually would be underwater by whatever. It's like I'd rather be out of it and see how it then work for. So that, you know, giving you an area there in advance of the ATR where you know you're wrong, like possibly, and price action will go the other way, while also giving you like an entry that's as close to that area as possible, would suggest that perhaps your entry there is perhaps too quick, right, at these previous highs, and you could have potentially been looking for an entry where you've defined a good area for a stop, because you have got an area just beyond that where you're probably wrong. So that, like, the risk reward then is both higher in terms of reward if you're aiming for the same target, because you've got greater range you're trading, and then also the risk is lower because, like, instead of a 10 cents plus, I mean, you're still looking at a similar percentage, but it's like slightly less because of a larger total. So, I mean, you've got a slightly better all-round trade if looking at that, and it's the same trade based on using that ATR from the daily time frame, and then also looking at, like, across the, you know, you've got the top side of the golden pocket retracement of the entirety of this fib from the prior high itself, which was bearishly divergent looking at RSI. So I'd be taking that, which hasn't been exceeded since, down to the low here in order to look for these retracement areas back above, which might exceed any of these, the current dominant fib from the formation that you're departing from. And then I'd also be looking at this as a downward sloping formation. You haven't actually tested this since you broke out. You've got that gap. It does look like it's going to come back at some point, but at the minute it's running to the top side. So I'd want as tight a stop as possible that's still allowed to justify trade. Still justified a trade, pardon me. So that's what we're looking at. Weekly, if I'm thinking of shorting something, I'd want to know what was going on the weekly. 200 period moving average once, twice as support. Gaps filled to the top side, doesn't necessarily need to go there. 1.13 extension. This high looks like not Adam and Eve, but anyway, it's not actually anything. This is yeah, so 522, and it's recovering. If it manages to persist above 522, 525, you know, so like if this thing does go in there to those speculative areas for a stop on this trade, hypothetical trade, then if it then subsequently doesn't break out but spends like a week open and then closes this week and then another opening back up there, I think that has the potential to keep moving, you know, so it would completely negate my interest in taking that trade short term. All of that being said, 200 period moving average there, if it breaks in at around 418, that'd be like asking for a lot. So I can see why you said on your trade your target was 4.9. That's like slightly beyond where that is now on the weekly time frame. So I'd bear that in mind, you know, as well as like perhaps wanting to take a slightly deeper entry, considering it's a short, so deeper as in higher. I'd probably also want to shave a little bit off that profit target to come closer to 420 than 419, and possibly even 440. depending on what other time frames say. But it's already tested that 200 period moving average twice, and it's got to break a 236 plus. It would have to be doing that considering it's got like touches of bullish divergence on larger time frames, and that's a weekly period of resistance, which will be relevant on every time frame when price meets that area. So on the daily, have we been here already? You know, you lose that 200 at $5. That's perhaps where you're looking to take this short trade, because this is all catching a knife. Perhaps you're looking for this to break down. The 4-hour time frame might give you a clearer area where you do that from. $5 looks like it could potentially take you down to 460. No, it's at 8% or something. You could make that work if price action puts in some sort of formation that allows you, or a candlestick formation providing the entry, or whatever your strategy is, like gives you the go, then it's there. 4-hour, there's the cross. Price action could test that gap in and around that same area. It's very dangerous for price action. Inflection point before that being so. See that gap. Then begins at 410 and finishes at 470. Despite the fact that it might only look like it's in at around 460 up to 470, that's like actually technically it's not. It's down here from where price departed and has not traded in that zone since. So you're looking at, that's quite a big area, and so testing the bottom side of that gap, well, it obviously could find support at 450, 440 something. That would be a 382 retracement. This thing looks like if it does test those areas, this isn't like a really fantastic breakout, you know, and because of how it's behaved previously, you know, I'd be looking at about it testing 350, you know, I'd be following this with a trailing stop. I'd have a take profit for at least a third of it at 420, perhaps 10-20 cents higher. I'd have a slightly deeper entry. I'd probably get stopped out anyway, based on what I'm seeing there. But if it was trending down and I was entering on a 4-hour, if it broke 5, and I was looking for it to go to these areas, I could potentially take a slow trailing stop, you know, significant distance off, and stay in this if everything broke down. 350, 2-hour time frame, 1 hour, where I thought I saw something when I first started opening this up. Maybe it was lower. 30-minute time frame, you've got a flash at 5:10. That's Rocky Outcrop's indicator. Get yourself that www.patreon.com/Rocky Outcrop. Oh, I was saying to people, this is what you should. So a couple of people were talking about, I'm going to take a course and create a course. And I was like, well, if you're planning on taking the course right, like I was going to sign up today, then you might want to wait and pay attention to what's going on with Rocky Outcrop's channel. Just put that out there, just for a couple of days. Just chud on there, you know. So don't spend all your money on premium plastic products. Yes, it. Think about your future. 5 spot 10, and yeah. So I mean, it's come back there. So that's that 15-minute time frame where it must be where they're all at. First 510, 200 period moving average, likely test that. Previous inflection point down at 440, gap to be filled. 382, 236, another gap that was tested once, and then this overall isn't filled until you're back down at $4.10. So 4.9, 4.10, that is a good target overall. Whether it gets there in one clean move, I'm not sure. It might well be that your overall risk is reduced with aiming for slightly less icing on the cake and more chocolate on your biscuit. And that might give you an overall better trade, which gives multiple opportunities to go short should it be working for you in your favor. You know, because you easily test that $5-10 level again, having reached 420. The opportunity cost plus all of that profit protection and capital for entering again, you've its own stop loss, and you know at that stage you're quite familiar with price action on this thing. Maybe it would be how you'd play it, right? Especially if you're very, very aggressive in that. So, you know, looking at that, it's just like one way of looking at it. Hope that adds some value to your trade, Jakes. Very good things to look at. And you added in some other information about a target buyout price of $7 and fundamental analysis that suggests that it's going up to the top side. Well, you know, if we're on the 5-day time frame, I had Rocky Outcrop Flash that said that was going to come back dollar testify. Holy goodness gracious. You know, so, I mean, so they want to buy it, do they? Okay. Well, $7 target buyout price, huh? See that there was this flash that came back to around 586. That stage justifiably excited, but came back, didn't it? Beyond the previous 236. Don't know. I wouldn't be buying it for $7. Man, if someone wants this for $7, I'd give it to them. Hey, that's my answer to that bit of information. So you can have it. There you go. Yeah. I'd tell him, like Rocky says, hey, I'd be like, look, it's tastier than Iron Brew. Have some. And then once they'd got it, I'd run away. Great, 'cause possession is 9/10 of the law. So it's like, this modern day and age, recycling and whatnot's their responsibility. So kicking that can all over the place. Whoa, that was for yourself, Root, and for yourself, Jake, for the kick. Yeah, Ace. And we did a little bit of GameStop, Ace, thanks very much, Ace. Very generous of you. Thanks. And for the pair earlier as well. Appreciate it, sir. So, anybody else wants to get anything in? This is how it works. Give me the ticker, the time frame, the entry, the stop, the target, and the reasons for taking the trade. And then I try to provide you with as best value as possible on your trades. Like a doctor, it's like a general practitioner on your trading. So you come in, you're like, wow, my trading, these are my symptoms. It's that boils and stuff. And I'm like, that's disgusting. But no, I'm really sympathetic. I've got a great bedside manner. I'm like a profit doctor, and I help you get the best of your profits and whatnot. Does my trading any better? It's not financial advice. It's just what I might do, So, it's a holistic therapy, really. So, 30 minutes. Yeah, look at that. There's another flashback down at 490. And then, like we were saying, if you're going there, well, you're actually going down here, aren't you? Yes. Is this? Yeah, it's bearishly divergent right now on those low time frames. So, see how price action evolves tomorrow morning. Was it like post-market? Nothing. The range was down at 521, high 537. That's not that crazy. ATR, not that crazy, yo, says everything. So how's there anything else I'm missing? Yo, Kieran, how's it going? Yo, legend. Great to see you, buddy. How's things? How's the production coming along? Thanks very much, generous sir. Slayer's Llama. What about getting the most out of the new emojis members? Are you getting the most out of them? Yo. YouTube thwarted my Scrooge-like behaviour. I set up this stream for members only, and YouTube's like, nah, we'll just make it the same as the last stream, Tradespot, and chill your boots and that. So, you can, there for the grace of YouTube, thank it's benevolent, this gracious YouTube, and this weird, mysterious ways. In fact, them for thwarting my Scroogey plans. So that's that. What else? Like, you're not saying, hey, Tradespot, please look at AMC. Like, I'll not look at it then. Let's look at something else that you like. Hood, 4% up to the top side, but that makes you happy. So anyway, there's a gap there. 7-Eleven, 11.75. 7-Eleven, 11.75. I don't know. It's the other way around. People do their dates differently, different places. So, hold that positive, right? Does that mean it's positive for GameStop? Tiger off at 1084? May well do. We've got those targets on topside AMC. We were thinking, if that leads the price up across the board, what will happen? Anyway, we want to look at SPY. That's it's just good for you. This is what they do at the doctor anyway. They just give you stuff that's good for you, whether you like it or not. I mean, that's not why you're going to the doctor. You go to the fairground or something for that, don't you? So this is like very dodgy. Get off that 30 minutes. See, that's invisible, right? That's so messy. It's invisible, Tradespot. Even you can't tell. This is a cross. Price action tests that cross. Of course it does. I mean, it tested this cross, tested that cross, tested this previous cross. All of these crosses have been tested. That one. That one. That one. Every cross tested, right? It's 4-hour time frames. Every cross is tested on SPY. And here's a potential cross. And it's tested, don't it? So that's that. And in advance of that, RSI says you could go on up to these levels, which would take price action. It would need to close higher in order to get that to happen, because it's the way this thing works. Right? Handy, that, isn't it? It's handy. It's definitely handy. It's like you don't have to, every single time you want to get out your car, you don't have to ask somebody how to park. That's what this is like, right? Because you know how it works. So there it is, up there. Imagine you had to ask somebody every time. Oh my God, right? You probably wouldn't go anywhere. So this is the, hey, no jokes, crazy. When you think about it, amazing, fascinating. So, so, in advance of that, you definitely could push a little bit higher. Right? You don't need to draw it on, though. I can draw it on. You could this gap before you reach that diagonal. So easily could go there, and then horizontals was where it's at. So, 430. Some people will be thinking 430. It's not completely out of the question, right? Not completely out of the question. But it just looks like, it's tested every cross out forever and ever. Even this one here, back then. It was like, I'm going up no matter what. Even left a gap, just to let you know. You're dumped. And so boom. This one, lower high. Still, it's like, yes. Still did it all. So, you know, what happens here? Well, I mean, probably, like, why is it totally different from how it's ever been before? Maybe, right? We should be a sign of something. But until then. And then daily, what did we say? Would we? 200 period moving average right there. And it's not in the bullish control zone yet. Well, we'll just go above it then a bit. It's done that every so often. So I don't think the daily is the be all and the end all. If it was, then it'd be a little bit too easy, really, wouldn't it? Weekly, I mean, look how easy that is, though. All that being said, right? Look, this does everything I was talking about. 411 now is where the 50 simple is. That's the target we were talking about. There's doing a premier. It's just we talked about. That's the nuclear bomb we talked about. Still, and that. So yeah. Right, that was also beautifully divergent. At that stage, you're thinking, does it get to 200? Well, no, because it bounced off the 200. So 50 simple, right? We'll use that as a proxy. And then does it get back above a 236? Well, we would need to by necessity in order to get back here. What does that do for all the overall price action? It was a downward sloping broadening wedge, still potentially could be quite good. But that comes off the back of like a bullishly divergent low, which only stopped at this area because of the 200 period moving average. There wasn't actually a support and resistance level here, right? Like in terms of has a decision been made? Well, I mean, that was already in advance. I told you it was going to bounce there anyway. No decisions have been made there. The decisions like are in and around back around here. Oh my god, right? That's like, look at that, right? Like that's like 310, and then or you know, and if it gets there, right? Look, to be honest, like you know, 280, right? Just why not? And then probably you know it could even be worse, right? It totally could be like. I would anticipate it being worse. So, yeah, I am, in fact. I'll say that right now. So, whereas there's the first place, so you'd be looking to. And then back up there, if it does break up, the equivalent on the top side, because of the nature of this formation, isn't this prior high? It's back up there, 475. So, you're getting back up there. No, you're not getting back up there until something else is decided. And you're not making a decision up there before you've made some other decision right around here. Well, that's be like, who's doing that? You know, I mean, come on. So, you know, they're doing it on their own if they are. I'm not helping them. So there, center line back above there, back above center line our side. That's good. Weekly time frame. Like to see that. Price action is not testing any divergence or anything. So if it does want to push higher, that 50 simple doesn't hold it, then great, right? Go on up. Nothing to look to there. Tampoco. 56, that's 200. You know, you could easily come back in there. That would be a lower high. Doesn't have to stick to any nonsense diagonals. 420 then. That'd be funny. Divergent, but not really a problem there. That was also not really all that bullish and divergent. So not looking for it to make much moves beyond what it's already done. But then again, it's not on daily. That's not where it happens. 4 hours, an inflection point there at 395. So if it does come down and hold that, which is also where you're seeing a 4 hour potentially cross back to the top side above 200. If price action does come back to there, and test that level and hold it and then subsequently exceed 404, then I'd say, yeah, you're looking at 411, then I'd be looking for that to break and go to 420. Does that mean it's going to go up? No. So 1 hour time frame. Well, there's a gap and I'm doing far too much work here. I'm anti. Yes, I am. Nobody asked for this. Anyway, 377 doesn't really need to fill gaps on the hourly with any immediacy at all, though it happens. Inevitably, it will happen again. This is the Mysterions. Woo! That went a bit mental, didn't it? But it's totally useless on this time frame. What does that say on 2 days as it happens? Are we about to? Nah, did it all. Doing it all at the minute. This is it. That's the. Oh, it's exciting. It's like, no, that's the 50p gone, right? That's it. The ride's finishing. You know, yes. Was a little bit anticlimactic, but that's your fault for following Burry on Twitter and getting all excited, isn't it? Apparently he got in long again, didn't he? On prison stocks. Great, right? Just great. You're the change we need in the world. Right, and so what else then? Right, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Right? I'm not crazy. So I am crazy though. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. So, yo, how's it going? What else have I missed? Nothing. I've not missed anything. Eagle-eyed trade spotting. That's why they call me the spotter. Right, so what? Yo, this is a 34-minute video of pure absolute gold. Moonman. Wow, legendary Bruno's member. Cigar as well. Wow, Sarah Rara. Wow, 16 months, Sarah Rara. 16 months it is. So that's it, isn't it? You're all out of chat. Big idiots. Where's the actual chat box at? I can't find it. I can only see the ones where the premiums. I can only see the premium one up here in the VIP lounge. Right. So anyway, yeah. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button, you know, so you know when the next one's out. Because, like, you know, it's not like it says on the thumbnail, you know, it's not like you know the channel name so you'd be able to find it or whatever. It's a mystery where these videos will be. So the only way you'll ever know is if you hit the like and subscribe button and the share button and comment below 5 times and then, like, send it to all your friends in your WhatsApp group. That's the only way. The only way you'll ever find out. And you really want to be doing those things anyway. It's in your own interest. I mean, it's a little bit irresponsible not doing them. Come on, grow up. So remember and never forget. Also, if you're taking the course, or if you're about to take the course, if you're taking the course, there's coaching sessions coming up where we're planning to dedicate some time towards that over the next wee while. But like separate things that are all different, so are going to be dead fun. So, but wait, hold on a couple.